Welcome back to the Deep Dive.
Glad to be back.
Today we're diving into something pretty big, generative AI, and what it means for legal ethics.
Yeah, especially for all the attorneys out there.
We've got the ABA Formal Opinion 512 to guide us through this. Fresh off the press, just from July.
So new.
It's interesting because this opinion doesn't just focus on the tech itself.
Right.
It really dives into how AI is going to impact the core ethical duties of a lawyer.
Absolutely. Your competence, confidentiality, even how you communicate with your clients, it's all changing.
Okay, let's start unpacking this.
Yeah.
Right from the get-go, the opinion tackles competence. It makes it clear that lawyers don't need to become coding experts overnight.
Right, no one's expecting that.
But it does say that we need to understand what these AI tools can actually do.
Yeah, what they can do well, what they can't do well, really get a grasp on their reliability.
So I'm thinking, is it kind of like having a first-year associate?
In a way, yeah. Like you wouldn't just take their first draft and file it in court.
Right. Oh, definitely not.
You'd review it, edit it, make sure it's up to your standards.
Exactly. You're still responsible.
You're responsible for that final product, even if AI helped create it.
No passing the buck.
Nope. It's like having a super-powered paralegal.
Okay, that's a good analogy.
One that can do tons of research, pull all-nighters drafting, but you're the one calling the shots.
Steering the ship.
Yeah.
Making the big judgment calls.
Exactly. And that's why staying up to date on this tech is so important.
Right. The ABA really emphasizes that.
This stuff changes so fast, you need to keep learning.
So what do you suggest?
I mean, there are CLEs specifically on AI in the law now. Maybe check out a legal tech journal.
Oh, good idea.
Find a tech-savvy mentor. You've got to be ahead of the curve.
Now, for me, the most mind-boggling part is confidentiality.
Yeah, that one's a real head-scratcher.
All those self-learning AI tools, the ones that get smarter the more you use them.
They present a real risk.
A big one. So how do we explain this simply?
Okay, imagine this. You've got a paralegal who learns from every case file, but they can't quite keep the details straight.
Oh, no.
They might accidentally spill info from one case into another.
That's a nightmare.
It's like a game of telephone, but with really sensitive client data.
And much higher stakes. So what does the ABA say about handling this?
They're very clear, informed client consent. You have to get it if you're using these tools.
But not just a quick line in the engagement letter?
No, a real conversation. Lay out the risks and the benefits specific to their case.
Like presenting two different legal strategies.
Precisely. Even if the ABA doesn't require you to inform the client in every situation.
You're saying it's best practice anyway.
Absolutely. This transparency, it should apply to all AI tools, not just the self-learning ones.
Got it.
You need to really understand the security measures of any tool you're using.
So where's the data stored? Who has access to it? What happens to it after the case?
All important questions.
You need those answers, not just to feel good yourself, but to assure your client.
That their info is safe and sound.
It's like due diligence, right? Like vetting any other vendor you'd work with.
Exactly. You wouldn't just trust your client's data to anyone, AI or not.
Speaking of trust, the ABA talks a lot about communication.
Yeah, it keeps coming up.
They encourage being upfront with clients about your AI use, even when it's not mandatory.
It just makes sense. If I were a client, I'd want to know if AI was involved in my case.
Same here. It's about respect and building that trust.
And clients might have their own opinions about AI. Some love it, some are wary.
So better to have that conversation up front.
Avoid any potential conflicts down the line. You could even put something about AI use in your engagement agreement.
So communication is key, not just to check off an ethics box, but to build a strong relationship with your client.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Okay.
All right, welcome back to our deep dive.
Ready for more?
Let's get a little more practical now.
Sounds good.
We've talked principles, but what are lawyers actually using these AI tools for?
Yeah, give us the rundown. What's out there?
One big area is legal research assistants.
Okay, those have been getting a lot of attention.
They use AI to sift through mountains of case law, statutes, regulations.
So much faster than a human.
Way faster. It's like having a whole team of researchers working nonstop.
Wow.
But are these just souped-up versions of the legal research platforms we already use?
That's what I'm wondering.
They're definitely built on those, but with a powerful AI layer on top.
So what can they do that's different?
Well, some can analyze patterns in case law, even predict how a judge might rule.
Really?
Based on their past decisions, the specifics of your case.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
But also a little scary. Wouldn't relying too much on that prediction be risky?
In terms of competence.
Yeah. You're still responsible for the legal strategy, not the AI.
You're absolutely right. And the ABA opinion is clear on this.
So it's not a free pass.
Nope. It's about using AI to enhance your expertise, not to replace it.
It's a tool.
Exactly. Like imagine a second chair who's amazing at finding obscure precedents.
Okay, I can see that.
But maybe not so great at understanding the nuances of your client's case.
You still need to apply your own judgment, your own experience.
100%. Now, beyond research, AI is also making its way into those more mundane tasks.
You mean the stuff lawyers hate?
Exactly, like document review, contract drafting, all that time-consuming stuff.
AI can help with that.
Oh yeah, generative AI is already being used to automate those tasks.
Give me an example.
There are tools that can review hundreds of contracts, flag potential issues.
Wow. Much faster than a human.
Way faster. And on the drafting side, some AI can generate initial drafts of contracts, wills, even legal briefs.
So it's like having a super fast paralegal who never needs a coffee break.
Pretty much. But of course, there are ethical considerations here too.
I was just thinking that. Confidentiality, communication with the client.
Exactly. Confidentiality is paramount if you're using AI to draft a contract, for example.
You could just feed it any information.
Nope. You have to be incredibly careful. Remember, some of these AI tools are learning from the data.
So if you're not careful, you could be compromising client confidentiality.
Potentially, yes. So you have to understand how the AI provider handles security, confidentiality.
You're not just ethically obligated to protect your client's data yourself.
Right.
You have to make sure the AI tool you're using is doing its part too.
Precisely. And don't forget about client communication. Transparency is so important.
Telling them you're using AI.
Yes, if you're using AI to draft documents, do research, they need to know. It's all about informed consent, building trust.
It's about being upfront, making sure they're comfortable with how you're using technology.
And this conversation about AI, it should happen early on.
Like right at the beginning of the representation.
The sooner the better. It shows the client you're thinking about these issues, that you're committed to using technology responsibly.
Okay, earlier you mentioned AI that can predict how a judge might rule.
Yeah, some of the legal research tools can do that.
It sounds incredibly helpful, but also kind of ethically murky.
You're hitting on something important there. What are the ethical implications of predicting litigation outcomes?
Exactly. Like, on the one hand, that kind of predictive power could be amazing for strategy.
I see what you mean.
But it also makes me question the lawyer's role, the whole idea of legal judgment.
It's a deep question.
If an AI is telling you you've got a 75% chance of winning.
Does that change your advice to the client?
Yeah. Does it influence your professional judgment?
Those are great questions. The ABA opinion doesn't address this scenario specifically.
But it does emphasize independent professional judgment.
Yes, it does. You can't just hand over your responsibility to the AI.
Even if its predictions seem really accurate.
Right. It's a tool to inform your judgment, your decision-making.
Not a replacement.
You're still the captain.
And when you're talking to clients, you have to be careful not to oversell the AI's abilities.
Definitely. You can't promise a specific outcome just because an AI predicted it.
Transparency is key. Managing expectations.
Exactly. Now, let's shift gears a bit. What about AI in jury selection?
Oh, I've heard about this.
Some tools claim they can analyze potential jurors, social media, online behavior, even their facial expressions.
All that to predict their biases and how they might vote.
It's a controversial area. Some see it as a powerful tool.
I can see that.
Others see it as a dangerous invasion of privacy.
I get that too. I mean, jury selection is important. You want as much info as possible.
Sure.
But analyzing someone's social media, their online behavior.
Where do we draw the line? When does it become too much?
Exactly. When does it cross that ethical boundary? How do you even ensure these AI tools aren't biased?
That's another big concern. We know AI algorithms can inherit biases from their creators, the data they're trained on.
So they could perpetuate existing inequalities.
And undermine the fairness of our legal system.
This seems like an area where we need to be extremely cautious.
I agree. The benefits of AI in jury selection are real, but we can't let them overshadow our ethical obligations.
We need to ensure a fair trial for everyone.
Well said. Okay, we've talked about how AI affects lawyers.
What about judges?
Could we see AI judges presiding over courtrooms one day?
Whoa.
It's not as crazy as it sounds. Some legal scholars are already talking about it. AI-assisted judging, even fully autonomous AI judges in certain cases.
So instead of a judge in a black robe...
You have an algorithm making the decisions.
Wow. That raises some serious questions.
Absolutely. What happens to the human element of judging?
Yeah. What about cases where the law isn't clear?
Can an AI really grasp the nuances of a case, weigh competing interests, consider the broader societal impacts?
I don't know if I'd feel comfortable having my fate decided by an algorithm.
There's something reassuring about having a human judge. Someone who can understand your situation, maybe even empathize.
Right. It feels like a core part of our legal system, more than just applying rules.
It's about justice, fairness, the rule of law, and those are values that, at least for now, seem uniquely human. But who knows what the future holds?
Maybe one day we'll have AI judges who are as wise and compassionate as human judges.
Stranger things have happened.
This has been so eye-opening.
It's a fascinating topic.
We've gone from the basics of AI tools to AI judges.
And we've only just scratched the surface.
Generative AI is going to transform the legal profession in ways we can't even imagine.
And as we embrace these new tools, we have to be mindful of the ethical challenges.
Well said. This is the end of part 2 of our deep dive.
In part 3, we'll look ahead to the future.
What might the long-term impact of generative AI be?
And what can lawyers do to prepare for this new world of AI-powered law?
Stay tuned. Welcome back to our final deep dive into generative AI and legal ethics.
The grand finale.
Exactly. We've talked about the present, the opportunities, the challenges. Now it's time to look ahead to the future of law in an AI-powered world.
Put on those futurist hats.
So is this just the beginning of the AI revolution?
Or have we seen the most dramatic changes already?
What do you think?
Well, one thing's for sure, generative AI is not a passing fad.
I agree.
It's a fundamental shift in how we deal with information, with technology, and its impact on the legal profession. It's only going to get bigger.
So let's gaze into the crystal ball. What might the legal profession look like in, say, 5-10 years?
Okay, let's see. I think AI will be as common in a law firm as email.
Wow.
As legal research software. It'll be woven into everything we do, from client intake to closing arguments.
So for attorneys, learning to use AI effectively,
It won't just be a bonus skill.
it'll be essential.
Exactly. Like
Yeah.
knowing Westlaw or LexisNexis back in the day. And I think it goes beyond just using the tools. It'll change how lawyers think about their work.
How so?
We'll need to be both legal experts and tech savvy.
A hybrid role.
Yeah, we'll need to understand AI, analyze it, leverage it to benefit our clients, and of course, do it all ethically.
Legal technologists. I can see the business cards now.
Maybe.
Yep.
But this raises a big question for law schools. How do they prepare the next generation for this?
Right. How do you teach AI in law school?
Exactly. Do they need to revamp their curricula? More focus on AI, legal tech, maybe even a required course on AI ethics?
AI Ethics for Lawyers 101.
Right. It's like we're witnessing the birth of a whole new legal specialty.
Now, I want to touch on access to justice.
Okay.
Could AI help bridge the gap for those who can't afford traditional legal services?
There's a lot of hope that it can.
How so?
Imagine AI-powered chatbots that can give basic legal advice,
Okay. Yeah.
guide people through simple processes, help with forms, even represent them in small claims court.
It would be amazing. Technology leveling the playing field, giving everyone access to some level of legal help.
Exactly. But we can't be naive about the limitations. Accuracy, preventing bias in these systems, that's crucial.
Right. We don't want a two-tiered system where the wealthy get a human lawyer.
And everyone else gets a chatbot that might give bad advice.
It's a noble goal, but we need to be careful, make sure these tools actually help those who need them most.
Absolutely. And it's important to remember AI, for the foreseeable future at least,
It's a tool.
not a replacement for human lawyers. Complex legal issues will always need human judgment, creativity, empathy.
Now, before we wrap up, one more crucial aspect: cybersecurity.
Oh, yes. Big one.
As we rely more on AI to handle sensitive client data.
The risk of data breaches, other cyber threats, it only grows.
This isn't just an IT issue.
Right. It's an ethical obligation for lawyers. We have a duty to protect our clients' information, and that includes protecting it within the AI tools we use.
So what can law firms do to mitigate these risks?
Well, awareness is key. Law firm leaders need to understand the specific risks that come with AI and data security
Got it.
and make cybersecurity a top priority.
Invest in robust security measures. Firewalls, encryption, multi-factor authentication.
All of that.
Training staff, clear protocols for handling sensitive info.
Yes. And it's not just about external threats.
Right, there are internal risks too.
Disgruntled employees, accidental data leaks.
So how do you prevent that?
Access controls, data encryption, regular security audits, all of that helps. And you need clear policies for responding to breaches.
So if a breach happens?
The faster and more effectively you respond, the less damage it'll cause.
Makes sense. Well, as we wrap up this deep dive into AI and legal ethics,
what's the key takeaway you want our listener to leave with?
that this isn't just a technological shift.
It's a professional and ethical one.
AI is a powerful tool, but it presents new challenges to our core values as lawyers.
And we have to use it responsibly, ethically, in a way that upholds the integrity of our profession.
And ultimately serves the interests of justice.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
It's an exciting time to be a lawyer, but also a challenging one.
For sure.
This technology is changing the legal landscape rapidly.
And we all have a part to play in shaping how that change unfolds.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into generative AI and legal ethics.
It's been a pleasure.
We hope you found it insightful.
And thought-provoking.
Until next time.